Did you know replacing hormones can be one of the ways that you can reverse diabetes? Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. O here at Angelic Wellness. Yes. Replacing hormones can be one of the things you can do to help you reverse diabetes. I know just talking about reversing diabetes alone, a lot of patients don't really believe it. They have been told that once you're diabetic for life, and they don't realize that there are things that they can do that's in their own control that can actually help to reverse this disease, okay? So most patients that have type 2 diabetes are the ones that I'm talking about here, okay? Let's be clear, okay? I'm not talking about the autoimmune disease that causes type 1 diabetes, which is where your pancreas are not making enough insulin naturally to be able to manage your blood sugars, okay? Replacing hormones will not help that, okay? We're talking about patients that have acquired diabetes, which is the kind where your diet, your lifestyle choices, your genetics and stuff like that might influence you developing it, type 2 diabetes, okay? So in type 2 diabetes, you have plenty of insulin, but the issue is that you are resistant to that insulin, and because of that resistance, you're not controlling your blood sugar well, and that high blood sugar is what we've diagnosed as diabetes, okay? So when I'm talking about replacing hormones, specifically one of the hormones that's been implicated is testosterone. And this is in both men and women. So there was a study done in 2016. This study was written in the European Journal of Endocrinology. And it brought the fact that increasing your testosterone level to more optimal, appropriate ranges can actually help in your insulin resistance issue and helping you with your diabetes. So one of the common things that I see in my patients with low testosterone, and I'm going to use the example of men and women actually in this case, is that they start to have this fat around the belly, okay? And this growth in abdominal visceral fat has actually been linked with a lot of metabolic issues, right? We've seen it linked with high blood pressure, with heart disease, with cancers, right? With diabetes. And the reason is that when the testosterone level drops, you are more likely to be not to be controlling the growth of fat, okay? And as your abdominal fat grows, because of its proximity to your pancreas, to your stomach, to your liver, okay, it starts to disrupt your sugar regulation, okay? So if we are able to get the abdominal fat under control, we reduce the cytokines or the toxic chemicals that this fat releases that disrupts the function of the liver and the function of the pancreas, right? And the release of insulin from this gland. So we also look at, okay, how can I reduce visceral fat then? Well, one of the ways to reduce visceral fat is to make sure that your testosterone level is optimal. And when that's optimal, you're likely to start burning that belly fat. And as you burn that belly fat, you start to have better control on that blood sugar. Okay, so that is kind of like, it's like a vicious cycle that the more belly fat you have, the less your testosterone, the more belly fat you have, and so on and so forth. So if we can start doing things that will bring the hormone level better, right, we start to burn that belly fat, which then increases testosterone level, which then burns more belly fat, and so on, okay? So I hope that makes sense. That is one of the ways that we can reverse diabetes, is improving this visceral abdominal fat by improving your testosterone level, which then helps you burn more belly fat and so on, okay? So that is one way. What else can I do, doc? What else can I do to reverse this diabetes? What if I've started taking my testosterone and still, yes, my A1C improved some, but it's still not reversed, okay? So one of the other things that you can do is you need to start reading your labels, okay? What do I mean by that? Your food labels. the first thing is, I don't want you eating foods that have labels on them anyway, right? We should be eating fresh fruits and vegetables straight from the farm, or at least in the periphery of the grocery store, where they are all fresh and you can cook it when you get home and stuff like that. Well, when you're eating those things, there's no added ingredients, so there's no label to read, right? It's you grab the meat, you grab the cheese, you got the egg, you got the banana, and so on, right? So there's no label to read. But when you have to read label, that means this stuff has been processed. It might have added ingredients that we don't like for diabetes, and so on. So you have to become an avid reader of labels if you're going to eat things that are in packages, okay? So one of the big ones to do is to read to see whether it says fat-free, okay? The minute it says fat-free, just put it back down, okay? Put it down, it's not good for you, okay? So when it says fat-free, guess what they've done? They've taken all the good fats out of it, okay? Now they've replaced it with what? They gotta replace it with something to try to keep the flavor or keep the taste so that you do like it and you come back and buy it. So what they have to do is, for you to feel satisfied with this thing, now they have to load it up with sugar. They gotta load it up with fake sugars, we load it up with fake stuff, artificial ingredients, flavorings, all this stuff just to try to trick your taste buds, okay? So all of these ingredients, these fake, unnatural ingredients, all start to affect the way your blood sugar works, okay? So one of the ways that you will notice this is this, okay? If you eat any of these foods that say fat-free or sugar-free, okay, watch what happens to you 2 hours after you eat that food. Exactly 2 hours, watch what happens. In most patients, you will feel this severe hunger that you cannot brush away. Why? Because that signal, that fake sugar or that real sugar, whatever they put in it to try to cover the taste of the fat-free, has triggered your insulin level to spike. And once your insulin level spikes, within 2 hours, yes, you're gonna feel hungry again. Okay, and then you have to feed that hunger, and guess what you're going to feed that hunger with? More junk food, which again is not going to be helping your diabetes. Okay, so what you want to do instead is eat low glycemic index fruits and vegetables. Okay, what do I mean by low glycemic index? These are usually fruits or things that are higher in fiber content, and because they are higher in their fiber content, they don't spike your blood sugar. They're just going to release their sugar very slowly, very slowly, very slowly. And over a period of hours, you're feeling not hungry because your insulin did not spike. So these are usually things like berries, things like nuts, and so on, right? They're not going to spike your blood sugar. They're just going to release their sugar content slowly. The other thing that's great about snacking on nuts is that they're higher in good fats, right? So they don't even give you much carbs at all. And so for the diabetic, they're a great snack. The only thing I'll caution my patients about when snacking on fats, on nuts as a snack, is that you have to be mindful of the quantity, okay? Don't go grabbing a handful every few hours, because sometimes that handful is over 300 calories, and you're doing that a few times a day. Now you're kind of not helping your total caloric intake for the day, which can affect your weight loss, which can then affect your diabetes. Also, if you can, by all means, okay, avoid eating cereal as breakfast. Yes, avoid eating cereal as breakfast. I don't care if you grew up on it, if it's the latest high fiber version. Most of them are too high in glycemic index. They're going to spike your blood sugar eventually, and you can do better, okay? I've talked in other videos about how using eggs, for example, can help you with this issue, okay? Or you can just intermittently fast. Yes, intermittent fasting, right, which means we just skip breakfast altogether, has been wonderful in terms of what the research shows for patients that are diabetic, okay? So what does that mean? Intermittent fasting means that after you eat dinner, so let's say 6, 7, 8 p.m. at night, you don't eat anything again for 12 to 16 hours, which means that if you were to want someone that ate dinner, say at 6 p.m., then you go all the way again to like 12, maybe 3 p.m. the next day before you eat again. Yes, you've intermittently fasted, and what that has done is it has driven your your insulin down so good that your body had to turn to your own body fat to get the energy you needed for the day. Okay, when that happens, we see improvement in insulin resistance, we see reversal in diabetes numbers, where it's improving significantly. And then do that over several months or years, you are more likely to reverse your diabetes naturally. Okay, so also very important as you're using hormones and replacing it and doing this stuff is to make sure that you're not pouring dairy in your body. Okay, so why am I against dairy? Well, dairy contains a lot of proteins. Okay, you've heard of casein, right? It's one of the proteins in dairy. It's not the only one, but just as an example. Now, dairy, because of these proteins, can be inflammatory to some patients. And when you are trying to heal your gut, heal from diseases like diabetes and irritable bowel syndrome and different things, you really want to reduce things that are going to be inflammatory to your body. So removing dairy from your diet for some time to let your body heal is a really good idea. Now, some people say maybe that's just cow's milk, maybe goat milk might be better, maybe other animal milk might be better. Well, that's debatable, but for now, at least while you're trying to reverse your diabetes, let's come off of dairy so that we reduce the inflammation in the gut and let your body work. And more specifically, if you're going to keep drinking dairy, definitely don't do the fat-free version, because if you read the label, like I said before, you're going to see that these are just high in sugar. Okay, so why take fat out that's actually good for you and replace it with sugar for someone that is already struggling with sugar problem? Okay, so don't do the fat-free version. Do the whole milk if you gotta use milk. But I recommend skipping it if you do want to fully reverse your diabetes. Okay, let's talk about coffee, because coffee is the other reason why some people will start to add dairy to their diet. Right? They don't like the coffee black, so they want to add some creamer. Okay, so what about thinking about things like non-dairy creamers, right? So you can make your own almond milk from crushed almonds, you can make your own coconut milk, you can buy the one that's organic and use it to cream your coffee. And you'll be surprised how much different they taste, right? So you can successfully do this definitely by making your own coffee. Now, when you go to the fancy coffee shops where you're getting fancy coffee drinks, the cappuccinos, the macchiatos, and so on, okay? Well, a lot of those have a lot of dairy in them, so be careful. I don't recommend them, and not only because they are high in dairy, but they're also, a lot of them are high in all kinds of syrups, right? Sugar, right? So if you're going to drink coffee, make your own black coffee at home, use your own creamer at home, and enjoy your cup of joe. Okay, so next one I want to talk about is the meats. So very, very important is that a lot of meats nowadays, if you're not very careful, you can be introducing the wrong type of hormone into your body by eating the wrong meat. So a lot of meat, as they're trying to grow, make these animals grow fast and grow big, they're injecting them with hormones that encourage quick development, right? Well, a lot of these hormones don't leave the animal's body by the time we consume these meats. So you have to be very mindful that if you're going to consume red meat specifically, even chickens nowadays, right, they're being injected with this stuff. So you gotta have to read the label, make sure they're like free-range chickens, they're like grass-fed beef, and so on. Yes, it might be a little bit pricier, but again, this is your body, this is your health. You're trying to reverse disease that can give you complications in the future, like blindness, like amputations, like heart attacks, and so on. So that extra dollar, it's going to pay for itself by you not getting those other diseases and complications. Okay, so think about that as you're eating this. And then I definitely don't recommend processed meats. So processed meats like hot dogs and highly processed sausages and jerkies and stuff like that, a lot of times they're not going to be using the best quality meats to make them, right? They're like the bottom of the barrel type meats a lot of times. Yes, there might be a few companies that make some really high quality versions of this, or the more kosher versions of this, but again, you have to be very, very investigational. Again, become a label reader, do your research before you purchase any of these processed meats. Okay, so using good oils is also going to help you in reversing diabetes. You want to avoid these commonly tinted as healthy oils, canola oil, most of your vegetable oils, your corn oil and your peanut oils. They're not going to be the healthiest oils for your body, okay? You want to move more towards the avocado oil, the extra virgin olive oil, and your coconut oils if you're trying to work on reversing diabetes, okay? And increasing your fiber intake while you're replacing your hormones is also very important. I would increase fiber by eating more vegetables, by taking a fiber supplement, right, to make sure I'm getting it every day. And of course, some patients buy this as little packets that you can just add to your oatmeal in the morning, or you can add it to your soups and just ingest it in a way that is convenient for you to be getting your fiber every day. So the fiber is going to help reduce the glycemic index, is going to help your insulin to not spike and get you better blood sugar control. High fructose corn syrup. I think we will all know this by now. This is definitely something that you should not be ingesting if you're trying to reverse your diabetes. And they're getting fancier with the way they label this now. They try to call them fructose syrup, like instead of calling them high fructose corn syrup, because they know that's what you're looking for. Sometimes they will just call it corn syrup. Just different names to kind of like trick you to make you think it's healthy. So you still have to be careful. I think basically going back to the same principle of the fresher the better, the less packaged the better, the less processed the better, and you will be doing much better for yourself and more likely to be able to naturally reverse your diabetes. We can go on and on about this topic, but I think that if you as a person start implementing some of these points that I put here today, you will start to see an improvement in your blood sugar. And over time, over years, you will be able to start lowering the medications that you are taking for diabetes. You will start to see weight loss, right, which again will help your diabetes. And you should be able to reverse. Most patients, I would say maybe 90% of patients will be able to reverse their diabetes doing these things. All right, let's talk about this one in the comment section. If you've implemented this or some of these and you are seeing results, let us know. If you've done all of this and didn't see results, I would love to hear from you specifically, because I would like to know, how is it possible someone did all this and didn't get any improvement, okay? So there must be something else going on in your world. Is there infection? Is there some underlying gut issue? Something else might be going on that's causing that. So I would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel, join the free VIP group where we talk even more in depth about this type of topics, and I'll catch you in the classroom. All right, talk to you later. Bye.